going on, Saints fans? It's been a while since we've been live because, Monday there was a freeze and whatnot. Tuesday we had another freeze. We couldn't really get into the studio, so we are finally live here this week on Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard, and oh my, some major changes could be coming to the New Orleans Saints this offseason. We're going to break it on down here in this show. We got some coaching updates. Two guys could potentially swap out the black and gold for other black and gold, but it's actually black and yellow, so we'll talk about that. And then I actually have a 5-step plan to clear over $70 million in cap space, and the New Orleans Saints could definitely use that cheddar to go and invest around their roster and build around Tyler Shuck. And then we're going to talk about some trade rumors, take some questions, and have a grand old time. You're watching Saints Now Live. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Loco Lopez is hanging out with us here in the studio. So give me a hoot at in the comments section if you're excited to be live once again. Again, sorry, guys, that it took a little bit of time for us to get back to the live shows. We just had bad weather, and we couldn't get in. I didn't want to have Lopez driving in here. And honestly, I actually got stranded in Mississippi / Memphis / Nashville on Sunday. I had to fly back Monday, so it was kind of a whole mess. So I apologize that we weren't able to get live on Monday, but we're live here Thursday. And hey, if we're having a good time on Thursday, we might make this a regular thing throughout the offseason that we go live on Thursdays as well. Give me a hoot at in the comments section, and don't forget to drop a like on this video. We're in the audience build-up portion of our show. Soon we're going to get into the latest news and rumors here in just a second. Shout out to Faded JY for giving me a $2 super chat saying, hoot at. Hoot at. We're going to wait to do the hoot at chant until he's on screen. But drop a like. Give me a hoot at. I see Terrell. I see I Love Football. Chriselle, Jerry, G, Rocco, Jonathan, Chad, Kentrell. Good to see every single one of you rocking and rolling with us here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. We do have some coaching information to share. We're going to tell you guys about that here in a second. I believe Faded's super chat is loading in as we speak. To give shout-outs to everyone who types hoot at in the comment section. 52 people watching. I want 52 hoot ats so I can give shout-outs to 52 real ones. Faded JY Gaming. Hoot at, hoot at, hoot at saying and go beat them Saints. Shout out to you, brother. Thank you for your donation. We're going to have a good old time. You know what? Going to go ahead and just say executive decision. If we want to have some drinks, $10, we can have some drinks. We can crack open a beverage and get rolling.
Dude, that was the one thing I didn't do much of in the freeze.
You got an itch. Lopez is itching a little bit. We're gonna have some fun here on the show. If you guys want to have a good time, we're always down to party. Just if you guys want to have some drinks, let us know by getting in the comment section, sending in a super chat. We can absolutely have a rager. Faded JY, appreciate you for sending in his donation. You're an absolute legend. And JY, I know you want to know what's going on with the latest around the coaching searches for other teams. It does impact the New Orleans Saints. The Pittsburgh Steelers are actually going to be interviewing 2 coaches for the New Orleans Saints that are on the current coaching staff. They have requested to interview assistant offensive line coach Jari Evans, which is pretty interesting if you ask me. I think Jari Evans is a guy that definitely should stick around in New Orleans. For what it's worth, this is for an assistant offensive line position in Pittsburgh, which is what he currently holds in New Orleans. So it's not like this is an upgrade or anything, or this wouldn't be a promotion for him, but he was a long-term player for the New Orleans Saints. He finished his career in Green Bay. His head coach was Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is now the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, so that is why and how we got Jari Evans to potentially join the coaching staff for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It'll be the second interview. It'll be the second offensive line coach the Steelers will interview. They're also going to be hanging out with some of the guys with the Broncos, with the Cowboys offensive line coach. Honestly, let's just do the first one because this one doesn't really matter. Let's just do the first. Right? Yeah, let's just do the first tweet. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. Yeah, this one doesn't really add any content. I don't know. I was building this graphic and I didn't really know what's going on. Faded JY! You want to go grab a couple of beers?
I guess.
Excuse me. I'm feeling a little sick. I need a couple of beers. I think that'll help. That's my medicine.
What was that line?
The Shane Gillis, you guys get it? Couple of beers. You guys get it?
What was the line the new guy pulled the other day? What's that? I've never tried that before.
Faded JY, let's get the drinks flowing, Loco. Hey, we'll grab some beers. Can you, while you run over there, can you put up the tweet for the other piece of information? Scott Tolzien, quarterbacks coach of the New Orleans Saints. He is potentially also going to be leaving the coaching staff. He's going to be interviewing with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. For what it's worth, this would be a promotion. This is actually one that I am concerned about losing. We're going to go into this in full detail on the show. We just want to get you guys a little bit of a preview of what we're talking about. The Steelers have notified the Saints that they plan to interview Scott Tolzien for offensive coordinator. He is the current quarterbacks coach in New Orleans. Tolzien, he played for Mike McCarthy. He was an assistant to him in Dallas. There's obviously familiarity there, so I could see Scott Tolzien being interested. And honestly, I wouldn't blame him for taking this job because it's a promotion, it's an upgrade. And, shame on me if I'm going to criticize somebody who wants to go and better their career. Who am I to say, don't do that? Who am I to judge? I think it's pretty cool. Miller Lite. I do like Shiner Bock, but I want a Melt Light beer today. Alrighty. I also want him to stick around, help with Tyler Shuck. We're going to talk about this in full detail here in just a second. We want to get you guys on the show, so if you have questions, hot takes, use hashtag Saints, send in a super chat. If you send in a super chat, you skip the line. We'll spend a few extra minutes on your question. But if you want to ask a question, you want to get on the show, you have a trade idea, a draft target, free agency, contract extensions, anything like that, we can talk about it here on the show. Use hashtag Saints, and we can get you guys featured on the program. Or you can be like Faded JY and send in a $10 super chat. JY, I'm going to wait for Lopez to get his beer. If you are above the age of if you are 21 years or older, please feel free to join us. If you're not, get out your Dr. Peppers and let's have a night.
If you're not, go steal from your parents' refrigerator.
Yeah, steal the root beer, not the real beer. The root beers.
Coats Unknown saying, I'm 9.
I'm 9. Yeah, steal the root beers, not the real beers.
Hey,
don't do that.
Have you ever tried the Coors Light root beer?
We are not we're not encouraging underage drinking on that. That is not what we're gonna do here.
If your parents have any,
if your parents got like a Dr. Pepper, if they got like a Sprite, maybe you want to get wild and get like a Fanta orange or something. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know if he's old enough for a Fanta.
Dude, yeah, Fanta.
Dude, that's a double
See, I was gonna say Mountain Dew there, but Mountain Dew has a lot of sugar, and
that's a teenage. You have to be 13.
Yeah. It's like when you're playing video games. It's you got E for everybody, T for like that's Mountain Dew. Exactly. It's T. Exactly. All right, let's get into the latest news and rumors here on the show. We've had a lot of fun talking about this and previewing it, but let's go ahead and just dive on in. The New Orleans Saints could be seeing some changes at the coaching staff. We're also going to be talking about my 5-step plan to clear up over $70 million in cap space so the Saints can get active in free agency and they can go and bring in some players to build around Tyler Shuck and get this thing moving in the right direction. So I'm excited to have a conversation about all that here on the show. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Is it just me or is this shirt super blue? Maybe it's just the TV, but this shirt.
It looks more blue on
It looks super blue on the TV.
Person.
Yeah, like
when I saw you walk in, I thought it was kind of like a blue-purple mix. Like,
see,
on screen, though, it's very blue.
It's very blue on screen. Either way, it's pretty cool. I'm kind of popping.
No.
I will say it's not Panthers blue. So
no. The kids would say that is indeed popping.
All righty, let's have a conversation. Coaching changes could be coming here in the near future for the New Orleans Saints. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. I'm going to get you informed of the latest Saints news and rumors. Big changes coming this offseason. Let's have a conversation right here, right now, live on Saints Now by Chat Sports. Some coaching changes could be happening in New Orleans? Yeah, you heard that right. You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard, and there are teams out there who are interested in poaching some coaches from the New Orleans staff, which for what it's worth, I will say is honestly good news because if other teams want your coaches, that means you have a pretty good staff in place. Let's get this thing started off with Jari Evans. He is the assistant offensive line coach for the New Orleans Saints. He's been on the coaching staff since 2022. The Steelers have requested to interview him to take the same position in Pittsburgh. For what it's worth, Jari Evans finished his career in Green Bay. Mike McCarthy was the head coach at the time, so it would be a lateral move, but it is a move to pay attention to. They have a couple of other guys in the running, but I really hope that Jari Evans doesn't leave the New Orleans Saints because, it is pretty fun to have some Saints legends around in the coaching staff. Now, another one that is a little bit more impactful, I don't think the Jari Evans one is one that you should really be too concerned about because, like I said, it's a lateral move. It's not like it's a promotion, but Scott Tolzien, your quarterback's coach for the New Orleans Saints, he could get a promotion and take the offensive coordinator role for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike McCarthy wants to interview him and bring him into his coaching staff, and he does have familiarity with McCarthy as well. He played for him. He was an assistant under him in Dallas. So I do think when it comes to the New Orleans Saints, you really should hope to retain Scott Tolzien, because I think that he is a very valuable part of the coaching staff. And look, I do think when it comes to Scott Tolzien and Jari Evans, they are the first two coaches, and they're the only coaches, as far as I'm aware at the time of filming this video Thursday afternoon. Those are the only guys who have had interviews or gotten interest for other coaching positions, and there hasn't really been any changes made to the coaching staff at the time of filming this video. Again, nobody's really been fired. Nobody's taken another job elsewhere. So I do think when it comes to the New Orleans Saints, the coaching changes, you shouldn't expect a lot to turn over, but it is interesting that they're now starting to get a little bit of interest as we get later into the coaching carousel, where you have a lot of the head coaches in place, and they now are starting to fill out their respective staffs. Now, there is a little bit of a ripple effect. If you do get Scott Tolzien to take the job in Pittsburgh, like if he's interested in leaving and he wants to go to the Steelers, I do think that this would be extremely impactful for the New Orleans Saints. One, you would have to find a replacement. You'd have to find somebody to take that job. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that he was the key factor to Tyler Shupp's development, but he was a very large, or he had a very large impact on Tyler Shuck's development. I mean, he is the quarterback's coach. Tyler Shuck is the quarterback. And he also was really impactful in Spencer Rattler's development as well. So for what it's worth, Saints fans, I think we should all share the sentiment. I would hate to lose Scott Tolzien, because I'd like to roll with some continuity there and get Tyler Shuck another year with his coaching staff to even flourish a little bit more than what we saw in his rookie campaign, which, by the way, was so dang impressive. Again, Scott Tolzien, Doug Nussmeier, Kellen Moore, they got to work with Tyler Shuck, and boy, oh boy, did it pay off in a big way. He was really, really impressive on the ground. He was really impressive with his arm. He elevated the roster around him, and he was somebody that got better every game he played, and he himself was a key factor as to why the New Orleans Saints were able to rattle off wins late in the season. And I also got to give him a lot of credit. He is a finalist for the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and it's because he was one of the best rookie quarterbacks. In my opinion, he was the best rookie quarterback for this past season, and he ranked first in completion percentage, second in passing yards, second in passer rating, and he was second in average depth of target. I think that when you talk about Tyler Shuck, it is important to try to keep the coaching staff around him and build with the weapons and the roster around him. But why would Scott Tolzien want to stick around in New Orleans when he could just go and take an upgrade? Well, there is a really clear path to success in the NFC South. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the most dangerous conference in football, but I'm also not going to sit here and say that the Steelers have a very, very tough path. Obviously, there's more talent in that division, but I do think when you talk about the New Orleans Saints, you also get the idea of continuity where you've been working with Kellen Moore, you've been working with the guys on the roster, you have the familiarity with Tyler Shuck, you're able to continue to evolve him and maybe even get yourself more money and more attention and better opportunities later down the road. But why would he leave? It's a fair question, and you know, who am I to criticize a guy for wanting to take a promotion? I'm not going to sit here and knock somebody for wanting to elevate their career and take the next step. And for what it's worth, he's out at the Senior Bowl right now as the offensive coordinator for one of the teams. So it's not like he's avoiding taking steps to get those promotions and further his career. I mean, he has the familiarity with Mike McCarthy. He could get a promotion. So I could see Scott Tolzien saying, you know what, I like what we got going on in New Orleans, but I'll take the promotion in Pittsburgh. So if you were in Scott Tolzien's shoes, which job would you rather have? The Saints quarterbacks coach or the Steelers offensive coordinator role? I want to ask you that question here in the comment section. You sound off down below. Type NO for the New Orleans Saints job. Type PIT for the Pittsburgh Steelers job. Again, this is obviously a better role, but hey, I wouldn't be surprised if us Saints fans, you know, we're a little bit biased with this one. But I do think the Steelers offensive coordinator role is pretty interesting. Now, Mickey Loomis did earlier in the week make it known that they are unlikely to make some major coaching staff changes. Obviously, if you have some of your guys get hired off to other staffs, you will need to make some changes. But for what it sounds like, the core of the coaching staff with your coordinators and your head coach, none of that is really expected to see a ton of change. Head coach Kellen Moore, obviously, his rookie campaign wasn't perfect, But I got to say, as the season went on, he was much, much better. Same with Brandon Staley. That defense was phenomenal towards the end of the season, and I'm really, really excited to see him have another year with this defense. And for what it's worth, I think the Saints are in a good position because you could have Kellen more, Brandon Staley be your offensive mind, your defensive mind for the foreseeable future. They're friends. They have the good chemistry. I don't think teams are foaming at the mouth to go and get a guy like Brandon Staley. So I think we're in a good situation for the coaching staff standpoint. But Phil Galliano, he is a guy that could potentially be on the hot seat. And he's somebody who is commanding the special team side of things. And after Darren Rizzi left for Denver, the special teams unit in New Orleans was not nearly as good. It definitely took a hit. So in my personal opinion, we should look to potentially upgrade in special teams. I have some thoughts there. We're going to talk about it here in a second. But I also wanted to get you guys informed on this awesome sale that I found. Chatsports.com/Saints hoodie. I made the link easy for you to find by you just search it, chatsports.com/Saints hoodie. Also, you can click the link in the comments or description of this video. We got a bunch of cool ones. We got this Letterman, this Super Bowl one. It's absolutely fresh. Got some Nike hoodies. Got some throwback ones. They're all really cool. They're all awesome, and they're all comfortable, and they're all on sale, which is the best thing about it. So get yours by clicking the link down below, chatsports.com/Saints hoodie. Now, I have said it. I spoiled it, but I'm going to say it again. Phil Galliano, I do think, should be on the hot seat. I'm not going to sit here and say fire him and get him out of here before the season starts, but I do think entering this year, there should be attention paid to Phil Galliano in terms of keeping an eye on how that side of the football performs. Are we getting more consistent with field goals? Are we getting better when it comes to punt return? Are we getting better when it comes to punt coverage? Are we able to have a better overall special teams unit? Because we've seen late in the playoffs and late in some of these games against some of these top teams, that can be the deciding factors. You can have a great offense, you can have a great defense. If your special teams is lacking, that could be the difference between a win and a loss. And look, the New Orleans Saints, they were not the belle of the ball when it came to special teams last year. They ranked 32nd in field goal percentage, 16th in opponents' punt return yards per game. They were 28th in net average punts, or punt net average. And then in terms of the opponent kick return yards per game, they were third. That part's pretty good. But all in all, like, the special teams unit definitely needs upgrades. And I think the best thing that you can do if you're Phil Galliano is you need to bring in some punter and kicker competition. No disrespect to Charlie Smith whatsoever, but he's still young in his career and he's still learning how to be more accurate of a kicker. He's got a hell of a leg and he can boot that ball, but he needs to be a little bit more consistent and a little bit more accurate, in my opinion. I'm really rooting for Charlie Smith. I don't think the Saints should move off of him yet. He signed a 3-year deal, but I do think when it comes to Charlie Smith, they need to bring in some competition. It's never a bad idea to try to get the best guy on the field, but also in the punter department, we cannot run it back with the punter situation we had. I mean, Lopez, what was it, a 15-yard punt in week 17 weeks? Like, we were seeing like 20 yards punt. It was 17 yards. I mean, yeah. No, it would just – we need better punter situation. We need a better special team situation. But all in all, I do think when it comes to the New Orleans Saints, you shouldn't expect a lot of coaching changes to be made. Hopefully you can retain Scott Tolzien. Hopefully you can retain Jari Evans. But that's why it's a question. Are they going to be making major coaching changes? We'll have to wait and see. But I really hope that the Saints don't make any big moves. Now, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you agree that the Saints need to improve on their special teams department, just do one thing. Drop a like on this video. I really appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. If you want the Saints to improve in special teams, hit the thumbs up icon. And don't forget to subscribe for daily Saints content by fans for fans. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time. All right. Segment 1 down in the can.
What a good first cut. You know what? I think that warrants sip.
Got to lather the pipes, you know?
I will say, first time having a Shiner box.
They're
Not
good.
bad.
No, dude, those are good. If you get them, see, I like Shiner box on draft or in the bottle.
Okay.
Very good. And fun fact, the first, like, you do the whole when you're like in high school, like, oh, snuck a couple beers or whatever. But the first time it was like my dad and I had a beer together. It was a Shiner box. Great beer. Very, very, very good one. But if you only like light beer, you won't like Shiner box. Okay. But they do have a Shiner Light that's really good, too. Very good. Jerry G getting a couple questions in. What's up?
I know I was talking before about, what we were doing during the freeze. Mm-hmm. Found these Mardi Gras Abitas.
Ooh.
at Total Wine.
Did you find the shuck ones?
I did. My dad found them.
He did?
He did.
Okay. We're going to need to find a way to get some of those up here.
Well, I am looking on making a little drive down to Mardi Gras.
Ooh.
So
that's the case.
Might pick something up.
Might need to get some. Might need to get some of those. By the way, if you guys want us to go, we're thinking about going live on Mardi Gras. Have a fun little just like hangout, like
get fucked up for Mardi Gras.
I mean, as bad as it sounds, like we were kind of thinking just we'd hop on here, go live, do a couple of segments, of course, talk some football, talk some Saints and stuff. But honestly, just have a good time and celebrate Mardi Gras. Like, thought maybe we could bring in like a king cake, bring in some drinks, have some fun. We could like spin the wheel. We could maybe do some like giveaways or something. Maybe we could like do like a jersey giveaway or something. I don't know. Like, we were talking about making some Mardi Gras shirts. Maybe we could give away some merch. Wait, somebody say merch? Maybe.
Chat Sports is getting in the merch game.
Yeah, we are not. Chat Sports is in the merch game.
Saints Now
we're looking at
coming.
we're looking at making some Saints Now shirts. I got a couple good ideas. We are looking at potentially trying to get a Mardi Gras one out. If that's the case, then we'll definitely be giving some of those away, and we'll got to sell some of those too because those will be awesome. But yeah, if you guys want us to go live, subscribe to the channel, share the channel with some friends. If we get to 56,000 subscribers by Mardi Gras, we will go live. Right now we're at 260. So making some good headway, but got some work to do. Now we're at 261. So whoever subscribed, you're a legend.
Shout out to that guy.
Shout out to that guy, whoever just subscribed.
Or girl.
Yeah, or shout out to that lad or that lady. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Alrighty. Let's see here. Do we get another one if I refresh? No, we didn't. It's okay. Alrighty. Yeah, let us know if you guys want us to go live for Mardi Gras. That'd be pretty fun. Right now, we got 57 people watching. 324 people have tuned in to today's live show. Thank you guys so much for rocking and roll with us, Saints Now Live. I Love Football says, welcome to the Golden Gang for the people that have recently subscribed. Yes!
Dude,
welcome to the Golden Gang.
I Love Football. Always welcoming people in the chat, and I love it. You just see someone in the chat, and he's like, what's up?
I Love Football also loves live streams. He's always hanging out with us. Yeah, he's always hanging out
Him,
with us.
Jerry G, they're always saying what's up to people
Dude,
in the
they're
chat.
always rocking with us in the chat. Always. It's always a good time hanging out with those guys. All right, let's go to the second segment. Who wants to save some money? Money, 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 money. Money. We're going to save some of it. Everyone likes saving money, right? Everyone likes saving money. Is this Send Help movie supposed to be like a horror movie, or is it supposed to be like... Because somebody said... One of the things that it's extremely funny. I was like, is it supposed to be like the Sharknado, where it's supposed to be like kind of a thriller, but it's also like extremely cheesy? I don't know.
Hot take. I'm not the biggest movie guy. There has not been many good movies that have come out in the past couple years.
No, there really hasn't been a lot of good ones.
It's been bad.
I'm somebody who likes going to the movies if there's a movie to go see, because I love movie theater popcorn. I love just getting to sit in the big chairs and watch the big movie. Like, it's fun. There have been so many times I've been like, I got a free afternoon. Let's see if Maddie and I want to go see a movie. I'm like, nothing on this list sounds at all even fun. I don't know. Is there even good movies out right now? Let's see. Movies out now. We're getting distracted now. Send Help. We were just talking about that. Zootopia 2.
I've seen too many freaks on Twitter talk about that one. I don't know if I can see that.
I'm good.
in
Yeah,
good-
there's
in
nothing
good
out
mind.
there. There's nothing out there. All right. Here comes the money. Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money.
Isaiah, what's up?
Isaiah, what's going on, brother? I hope you guys are staying warm while we suffer through this Arctic freeze that is taking over the world. We are living in the day after tomorrow, in case you guys didn't know. Big freeze.
I will say, happy I have not busted my ass yet on the ice.
I haven't fallen. I've gotten close, but I haven't fallen. Whoop. I haven't actually fell down yet, so that's been
Big wins.
Oh yeah, no, big W. There was when I lived in Fort Worth. Last story, and then we'll get into it. When I lived in Fort Worth, there was an ice day, and I couldn't drive in, obviously. So, but I wanted to just go outside for a minute, like while I was working from home, just go.
Yeah.
You know, just it's
Move
icy.
around.
Yeah, just like it's icy. Like when did that happen? So me and my roommate at the time, we went downstairs to go like check it out and see how slippery it was, because like our apartment was kind of on like a little bit of a hill, so we were gonna see if we could like slide down it, you know, like on our feet, whatever. It's dumb people and ice. What do you want? Anyway, I'm walking down the steps of our apartment complex. I'm not kidding you. It was one of those slip, like, feet overhead falls.
It was a cartoon fall.
Yeah, it was like a cartoon fall. Like, it was pretty great. And the only thing I have to commemorate it is a picture of the giant bruise that I had on, like, my ass cheek and my hip and my leg. Because it, like, all right down here, it hurt really bad. But I didn't get a video of it, and I really wish I did because it would have been damn near funny. Or damn near hilarious. I have 5 inches of ice in my yard here in Arkansas. I hear 5 inches a lot.
Yeah.
I hear 5 inches is a lot.
Never let them tell you 5 inches isn't enough, fellas.
I hear 5 inches is a lot, man. So I hope that's hope you're able to manage. Hope you're able to manage. Where in Arkansas are you at, by the way? I went to the University of Arkansas. So yeah, I love football. Shane McMahon theme song. Alrighty, let's get into some money talk. Here comes the money. Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money. Hey, if you want to save some money, type some dollar signs in the chat. Let's get the dollars flowing in the chat. Make it rain in the chat. Let's make it rain in the chat. Wait, oh my gosh. Lopez, hold on. I have something here I want you to do.
I think I have an idea where we're going with this.
Do we have the money get? Yes!
I think I know where we're going with
so
this.
what I want to do here is I want to do... I'm going to put this in the script.
Let's see where you're at in the script. Yeah, just a reminder while we're doing this, get your hashtag Saints in.
Yes, use hashtag Saints.
Later on.
Use hashtag Saints. Okay. So we're going to go. So I just. Hold on. I got to make sure I do this math right here. Hold on. I have a really funny idea. I'm like, this is, so you see now the sausage is made in action, which is pretty fun. You don't get to see that often.
And math is not our strong suit, so
no.
Bear with us. We are 2 SEC graduates.
Yeah, I went to the pig school and he went to LSU, so, you know, our finest minds are on this.
Do we have a Vanderbilt guy in office?
No, we have a Tennessee guy.
Nah, they're just as good. I love football, spamming his money emoji. Same thing with Isaiah. Spam those money emojis. I can give some shout outs while Triz gets this script together.
Okay.
Do you want that as an L3? I can just make that real fast.
Yeah.
That's no problem.
Yeah, can you just make that?
Yeah. Ooh, Joseph Lyons saying hey. Hey, Joseph.
Hey, Joseph. Send them. Let's make it rain. Hot Springs, Woo Pig. Hey, I went to a bachelor trip in Hot Springs. We stayed on the lake. We took the boat over by Sam Pittman's house. We went to the horse races. We did some gambling at the casino. There's a place that's like a Chicago-themed spot that has like really good like beef sandwiches and all that good stuff. We went there. The guy whose bachelor trip was for was a big Bears fan, so he wanted to go check that out. And can you do like the green 2? Just like the darker green?
Yeah.
And then can you put the money sign in front of 82? Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm needy, and Lopez fixes all my problems, so. There we go. All right, let's do it. I cannot wait to use it. Make it rain, baby! Let's make it rain! All righty. We're going to talk about how the Saints can save some money.
This one's price fix, right?
Yes, this one will be a price
Perfect.
fix. Perfect. And it'll also be a cold open, so just I'll give you a hard pause after. And you can go just generic watching L3. All right. Let's get set up for this segment. How the Saints can save a lot of money. We're going to talk about over $70 million in savings. Type those money signs in the chat. Let's make it rain, and let's talk
Talk money.
Let's talk some money. If you ain't talking money, I don't want to talk. All righty. Let's do it. God, this is going to be a fun one. I'm excited about this segment.
Just because of the money get. We're here now.
100%. All righty. Let's do it to it. Wait. I don't have the script pulled up. Yes, I do. Yes, we're good. We're good. Yep. Today on Saints Now, we have a really fun conversation. The New Orleans Saints could be making some big moves in free agency, and we have a 5-step plan to clear up over $70 million of cap space. You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard, and if you want daily Saints coverage by fans, for fans, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 56,000 subs by Mardi Gras, and if we do, we'll go live and have a little bit of a party. Hit the sub button right here, right now. Without further ado, let's talk some money. If you ain't talking money, I don't want to talk. That's the topic of today's video. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. The Saints cap situation is always a hot topic of conversations because traditionally, they've always been in cap hell, and they have to do all of these gymnastics to get cap compliant. It's always a huge talking point. But I'm here to tell you, as we get into this cycle of free agency and we enter the new league year, the New Orleans Saints are actually in a pretty good spot in terms of where they used to be when it comes to the cap space. Now, according to Spotrac, right here, right now, late January at the time of filming this video, New Orleans is about $40 million over the cap, but the 2026 NFL salary, here, actually, timeout. We got to, because I typed that wrong. I'm not seeing it in the script. It's supposed to be 2026. That's my fault. I knew I should have double-checked that. Damn it, we got to reset it. We got to reset. That's on me, guys. That's on me. That's on me. Sorry, y'all. We're running it back. Alrighty. Let's start it back over. Yes, from the top. We'll take it back here. Right, it says sign Breece Hall and a stud guard. Definitely could be an option. Definitely could be an option. Alrighty. Reset, recalibrate, and have a better video this time, Trizzy. Let's do it. Today on Saints Now by Chat Sports, we're talking money. I got a 5-step plan to clear up over $70 million of cap space. Could New Orleans be making major moves in free agency? We're going to have a conversation right here, right now, here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. But first, if you want daily Saints content by fans, for fans, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. If we get to 56,000 subscribers by the time Mardi Gras is here, we're going to go live on the channel, have a little bit of a party, have a little bit of a celebration. So if you want daily Saints videos and you want to have a good time on Mardi Gras and you want us to party right here live on the channel, then hit the sub button. I promise you won't regret it. If you ain't talking money, I don't want to talk. That's the topic of today's video here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. Welcome in once again. I think that the Saints cap situation is a really interesting conversation because it feels like for the last handful of years, we've seen the New Orleans Saints just be stuck in salary cap hell. But for what it's worth, I'm here to tell you, as we've kind of evolved the team and as some of the guys have left and as you've shed some of the expensive contracts, you've actually been able to get yourself into a much better situation than you have been. Granted, you're still over the cap and you have work to do, but the New Orleans Saints, when you take into consideration everything, they're in a much better situation than they have been over the last few years. Spotrac has New Orleans ranked 31st in cap space here at the time of filming this video in late January. They are currently about $40 million over the cap, but the 2026 salary cap is expected to get over $295 million. And for what it's worth, a lot of criticism over the last few years of the New Orleans Saints being like, oh, they're old and we're expensive and da 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 da. Well, for what it's worth, they actually have the 12th oldest roster in the league, 26.7 years old. And if you have some guys retire, you have some guys leave, then that number certainly goes down even more so. Now, for what it's worth, the 2026 salary cap is a thing to monitor. We don't necessarily know exactly what the number is going to land at, but it could get as high as $304 million. And if that's the case, the New Orleans Saints have to do even less to get cap compliant. The NFL is a booming business. They did awesome numbers. The salary cap increases every year at a pretty exponential rate. And so for the 2026 season, I don't think it's outrageous to say over $300 million of cap space will be available to each team. And the New Orleans Saints have a handful of needs that they definitely need to address. The interior offensive line is an area that I'm definitely interested in spending some money. I also wouldn't mind bringing in a running back like a guy, Breece Hall, for example. Wide receiver depth is interesting position of need. I also think when it comes to the edge rusher position, I may want to go to the draft for that route, but still a need. Alontae Taylor, depending on what you do with him, if he returns, cornerback is less of a need. If he doesn't, then you definitely need a corner. Linebacker depth, I don't think it would hurt in case Demario Davis ends up leaving. On top of that, tight end depth behind Juwan Johnson. Foster Moore is a free agent. And you could use some safety depth as well behind Jonas Sanker and Justin Reed as well. You also have some draft picks that you can work with. Right now, you're expected to have about 8 picks. First round pick, number 8th overall, round 2, round 3. You have 2 in round 4 because you have the Seahawks pick from the Rashid Shaheed trade, and you are expected to get a comp pick at 136 overall. And then in round 5, you also get a draft pick. And then around from your own, you have Seattle's 5th round pick, and then you also have a 6th round selection. So we have a couple of areas where the New Orleans Saints are easily able to address needs in the offseason. But I want to ask which one you're more excited for, the draft or free agency. Type D for draft, type FA for free agency, and I want to hear from you down in the comment section. I think personally I'm more excited about the draft just because it's a lot of fun and there's so much excitement around all these new prospects, but I want to hear from you, free agency or draft. Now the offseason focus for the New Orleans Saints needs to be building around Tyler Shuck. Like, that's not a mystery. You need to maximize his rookie contract. You need to continue to build Kellen Moore's New Orleans Saints team. We need to continue to evolve and fulfill his vision for what this team needs to do in order to get back to the top. And I think that's a huge area of priority for the New Orleans Saints. So coming up next, we're going to talk about how the New Orleans Saints can clear up $72.4 million of cap space. Shane O'Mac, show me the money. Wait, it's Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money. I had it wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. First things first, we're going to tell you guys how you can make some money, and that's actually with our friends over at PrizePicks. If you download PrizePicks, use our promo code CLNS, you'll get $50 on lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And the big game is almost here. There's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than with PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Reminder to use that promo code CLNS. For this matchup, I have a really, really good PrizePicks lineup. I'm excited for this Patriots versus Seahawks big game. Drake May, half a passing yard. That's a free one right there. Go ahead and add that to your PrizePicks lineup. Jake Bobo, 1 catch. Yeah, sign me up for that one. And on top of that, Ramondre Stevenson, he just has to find the end zone once. I put $20 down. If I hit, then I'm winning $95. And if you like these picks, I highly encourage you to make your own PrizePicks lineup after you download the PrizePicks app and use our promo code CLNS. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All that information is clickable in the comments and description of this video. Shout out to PrizePicks for making today's show possible. Download PrizePicks today. Use our promo code CLNS to take advantage of the deal. Shout out to PrizePicks, where it's always good to be right. Now, the free agency tampering period opens on March 9th. So the New Orleans Saints do have a little bit of time before they need to make some moves, and they need to, and also before some of these players officially hit free agency. And you have some really, really big decisions to make when it comes to a handful of players. The biggest ones, in my opinion, are around Alontae Taylor, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, and Taysom Hill. Obviously, for Alontae Taylor, do you want to bring him back? He's a real good player, and it's a real conversation. He could ask for a lot of money, and he could test the market. Demario Davis seems very open to testing the free agency market, but that could be a win-win. Maybe he tests the market, doesn't make enough money, and he wants to come back to New Orleans, or maybe he's able to go cash in somewhere else and get one more big paycheck. But I do think that the Saints need to try to find a way to retain Demario Davis. Cam Jordan, we know he wants to return. Taysom Hill, there's a conversation around him. What do you do with his situation? Does he retire? What do you do here? But for Cam Jordan, Demario Davis specifically, if they do get an extension done before the contract voids, the prorated signing bonus figures can stay at their current spot. So basically, to put a bow on this, the signing bonus plus whatever the new money that you would be paying to Cam Jordan or Demario Davis, that's how you would find cap savings for those two players. So you can find some money to save if you do extend Demario Davis and Cam Jordan, bring them back. But you also could try to potentially renegotiate those contracts. But one contract you definitely need to renegotiate is Taysom Hill. So step number one to my 5-step plan to save over $70 million, renegotiate Taysom Hill. And look, I think that it's a real conversation to have around this player. I think he could end up retiring. It's something that is definitely not off of the table. He was visibly very emotional after the last game at the Superdome against the Jets when he popped off. The new contract, if you do renegotiate it, would save about $12.5 million. You'd have no money in dead money. So I think that that's something that the New Orleans Saints definitely should consider doing. And it would be one of those renegotiate into retirement things that they did with like Drew Brees and they did with Ryan Ramczyk, some of those other guys. He has expressed interest in returning, but retirement isn't off the table. We have even heard Taysom Hill say, quote, "I wouldn't want to play somewhere else, but there's a lot of circumstances that are out of your control too. And I understand the nature of this business, and I'm not thinking that way right now, but we'll tackle that when we get here." He said that after the Jets game. We'll see what happens. But I think regardless if you bring back Taysom Hill or if you let him or get him to retire, whatever happens, it doesn't really matter. The Saints need to lower the cap hit. So I'm just going to say the first thing you got to do is renegotiate Taysom Hill's contract. I think that's an easy way to save a ton of money. But another easy way to save a large chunk of cheddar is if you extend Chris Olave. Now, Chris Olave, in my personal opinion, definitely deserves an extension. And for what it's worth, if you missed our injury news update that we put out the other day, and Nick Underhill also talked about it as well on his blogs and over at neworleans.football. Chris Olave, for what it's worth, there was the blood clot that was found in his lungs. It's seeming like though it's progressing in a positive direction, so shouldn't be anything too concerning moving forward for the wide receiver. An extension would actually save over $11 million for the New Orleans Saints. Had a huge breakout year after considering a retirement. The guy is tough as nails. He's extremely resilient, and I think when you talk about Chris Olave, he's somebody that definitely deserves a payday. He was a top 10 wide receiver in targets, receptions, yards, and touchdowns, and he's somebody who's been very, very vocal about wanting to stay in New Orleans forever, and he's somebody that the New Orleans Saints should look to keep around for the long term, especially when you have a quarterback on a rookie contract. You have the ability to spend money and allocate those resources to support him. Now, in my personal opinion, if it were up to me, I would just go ahead and extend Chris Olave sooner rather than later. Get it out of the way. They picked up his 5th-year option, so it's not like there's this massive sense of urgency. But I do think Chris Olave, just get the extension done. Let's get this thing working. We know we want him to be a part of the long-term future. Let's just take care of that before the price tag skyrockets even more, and we have to pay even more money to number 12 when we could have potentially got a really, really good deal here this offseason. Now, a move that I think a lot of you guys would be really interested in. The New Orleans Saints could save just under $10 million if they made Cesar Ruiz a post-June 1st trade. Now, he signed a 4-year, $44 million extension back in 2023, and since he signed that extension, he's been a really frustrating player. And look, I don't want to dog the guy. I don't want to talk about him poorly as a human being, but I mean, he's just one of those guards that's just extremely frustrating. He got extended and he got paid because of one decent season where he had a handful of good games. And, like, I just think the New Orleans Saints need to look to make upgrades. In 2026, his overall PFF grade was 56th or 57th out of 81 qualifying guards. He did rank 13th in pass blocking, but he ranked 73rd in run blocking. He's a player that's just been extremely frustrating, and quite honestly, he's been a thorn in the side of a lot of Saints fans. I just think overall he's too inconsistent. And even Mickey Loomis has said that. And I know a lot of us Saints fans aren't necessarily huge Mickey Loomis fans, but at least he knows that. Mickey Loomis even said that Cesar Ruiz, you got to get more out of him. And I think with him, he's just a little too inconsistent. He's making too much money. So personally, I would just rather trade him, make him somebody else's problem, try to get some extra resources back, make him a post-June 1 trade. You get an extra draft pick for next year. And you could you could afford to make a trade like that to allocate and return some extra resources for next year's draft, so that way you can have a couple extra picks. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world, and I think it should be on the table. But what would you do? Should you let Cesar Ruiz return to New Orleans? What say you? Yes or no? Should Cesar Ruiz be back in the black and gold next year? I want to hear from you down in the comment section. Step number 4, let's cut Nathan Shepard. Again, this isn't necessarily this guy sucks and I want him off my roster. I think that it's more of he's old, you could save decent money, and honestly, it just frees up an opportunity for someone else. Like, look, a post-June 1 cut, for what it's worth, you only get 2 of those designations. You could save just under $5 million. That's considerable money. There's not a lot of money you could save by cutting people because you can only get those 2 post-June 1 cuts, and you'd have to factor in dead money and all that good stuff. But if you do with Nathan Shepard, it is a move that could be potentially beneficial for the Saints. He's 32 years old. He was a defensive player or special teams player of the week during this 2025 season. I think the Saints can get younger. I think they can get cheaper. And again, it's not like he's been a bad player. Like, I think he's had some good moments. I think he's had some of those, like, what are you doing with, like, the weird stuff going on last year where, like, he was rolling ankles and stuff. Yeah, I don't care. I'm not here to talk about that. But I think he's been a fine player. I just think when you talk about the New Orleans Saints, you just should be looking to upgrade. And if you can get younger, if you can get cheaper, why would you not do it? And you could also get somebody who's a little bit more productive in a part of the long-term future and create that cohesive chemistry and that synergy that could help benefit the Saints defense for the long term. I mean, like, imagine if you landed Ruben Bain Jr. in the draft. You could cut Nathan Shepard, bump Ruben Bain to the inside, let him tear it up, and let him have some fun. And, you could also have Brian Brzee in the mix. You have other guys like John Ridgeway in the mix. Christian Boyd could get some extra opportunities. Like, there's a lot of ways that the New Orleans Saints could utilize their roster and add to it to get more out of it. And I think cutting Nathan Shepard to save about $5 million wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, the last thing that the Saints should do, you can save a lot of money, about $34.2 million in savings if you just restructure a handful of contracts. There's not a lot of contracts that you can restructure and make a ton of money in savings, but if you restructure these 4, this is $34 million of savings right here on screen. Chase Young, you restructure him, just under $11 million. Alvin Kamara, Carl Granderson, both $8.2 million. Eric McCoy, you restructured him last year. Maybe you try to restructure him this year. Very nice. $6.9 million in savings if you restructure his contract. But guess what? The cap savings doesn't stop there. You can still find even more money by doing a couple of extra moves. Here's 3 moves to free up just about $10-ish million more. You make Jordan Howden a pre-June 1st cut, you save $3.6 million. You cut Kendre Miller post-June 1, you save $1.5 million. You trade Devon Gottschall pre-June 1, you save $4.6 million. I don't think that the Saints should be on the market to get rid of some of these guys. I just think when you're talking about a cap casualty or from a salary cap standpoint, you should be looking to free up money and maximize your roster and not pay guys who are either not playing well or who are backups or who just can't stay on the field. So when you add up all of the math that we have done today, I know I went to Arkansas, Lopez went to LSU, we have our brightest SEC minds on all of this. As Shane O'Mac said, here comes the money! $82.1 million in cap savings. That gets us into cap compliance. That gets us the ability to carry some of this money over next year. It also gives us the ability to go and pay a lot of guys and add to the roster while also investing in your wide receiver in Chris Olave. You also were able to get Taysom Hill's contract off the books. You were able to rid yourself of the Cesar Ruiz issue. So I think you do all of these things, it will really benefit the New Orleans Saints. So there's my 5-step plan. And really like 6, 7, 8-step plan because there's extra ones too. But there's my plan to save a lot of money. Look, I'm a math guru. Clearly, Kai Harley needs me as his intern, and that is why you should subscribe. Friendly reminder, if you want daily Saints videos like this, hit me up by hitting the sub button. Turn on your notifications. That way you never miss a video. We're trying to get to 56,000 subs. We need less than 800 of you to hit the sub button. So if you're a diehard Saints fan and you bleed black and gold, lock us in for 100% free. I'm going to be honest. I felt like I cooked on that one.
That was a good one.
I felt like I cooked.
You know what it was? The money gift.
The money gift.
That's what it was. That's what made it.
That was sick. It was also really cool when I screwed up the Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money.
But you got it right the second time.
I got it right the second time. So that was.
It was just like a Monday morning VOD. You fuck up the first time, but you
just
collect yourself and you get back.
Recollect your thoughts and get it moving. So what you guys think of that? Huh? $80 million in savings. Not bad, huh? Not bad. Just saying, not bad. What do you guys think? Was I cooking there? It was GM Trizzy on fire or no? I want you to let me know. I want you to let me know.
Okay.
I love football says I cooked. Thank you, dude.
While y'all are down there saying if Trizzy cooked or not, get some hashtag Saints in. We don't have many.
Yes, we need more hashtag Saints. If you want to be featured on the show, hey, whoever subscribed, thank you. We had another subscriber.
We're getting closer.
Live. Dude, we're chipping away. Maddie just texted roast beef sandwiches for dinner. Might be fire. Might be fire. However, I don't think she doesn't know that we don't have bread.
Maybe she's watching and she just heard that.
Well, I did text her, so she's watching. That would explain why she hasn't responded yet. Anyway, all right. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. We're going to get into one more segment, some wide receiver trade targets, and then we're also going to get into a mailbag. So if you want to be featured on the show, use hashtag Saints or send in a super chat right here on the show. I love football. I know that we have questions from you. Jaden, you probably got a couple from you.
I don't know if
Jerry
I saw
G.
Jaden, actually. No, Jaden's not in here. Jaden, what are we doing?
Jerry G says hell no to trade Cesar Ruiz. I'm actually shocked. Oh, hell no to Ruiz. I think you just don't want him around.
Yeah, that's what it was. When it was, would you bring Cesar Ruiz
Do we have
back?
any? Because I feel like this chat has just turned into I love football, JG, and Jaden just talking about the
we
sandwiches
got
they
a
like.
couple from Mike Nintendo Master. One is revolving around Max Crosby.
It's a fun one.
That could be a fun one.
It's a fun one.
What else we got? A lot from Jerry G. Mostly asking how we're doing. Trace and Loco, y'all good? We're great.
Jerry G, I appreciate you asking how we're doing, but that's not that we need questions about the Saints. Guys, if we don't get any questions, we can't do our last segment. If we can't do our last segment, that's fine. We'll just film it elsewhere, but we wanted to have some fun with you guys. So if you have a question, use hashtag Saints or send it in a super chat.
Jaden, get your damn hashtag Saints in.
I mean, like, hey, Poe, I don't need this. Pot Jera. I want Caleb Downs to be a Saint. Hey, why don't you copy and paste that message, but put hashtag Saints in that chat? Because I would love to talk about Caleb Downs, but I can't because you didn't use hashtag Saints, so we can't get it on the show. So Pot Jera, use hashtag Saints, and we'll get you on the show. But you gotta include the question.
Help us help you.
Yes. Cut Kendra Miller from I Love Football. Use hashtag Saints. Trade Cesar Ruiz for a 6th or 7th round pick from Larry Connor. Use hashtag Saints.
Hey, Pajera.
There we go.
Ooh, Ethan. I like that one.
Okay. There we go. That's a good one. I like that one.
I Love Football is giving examples in the chat. Follow his.
Hey, I Love Football. He did it. So we're good.
Jaden, get your goddamn chat in. Right now, Jaden.
Yeah,
Jaden, I know you're watching.
Don't yell at Jaden. Jaden's just a kid.
I'm not yelling
He's
at him.
A kid. Actually, I don't know how old Jaden is.
I'm not yelling
and
at
I don't
Jaden.
want to know how old Jaden is. I don't need to know that. But I do think that.
But
he's
Jaden,
a
give us the
legend.
last 4 digits of social security number. That's all we need.
I don't even think Jaden has a social security number.
Jaden, are you supposed to be here?
Don't do any of that, Jaden. If anyone ever asks you for that, block their number immediately. Lopez is a bad influence. Per
Jaden,
usual.
what if I told you I was a Nigerian prince who needs your help?
Yeah, don't listen to him. If you could sign one current free agent, who would it be? Good question, Ethan. We'll get that one on the show.
Ethan, you're cooking today.
Yeah, Ethan's got some good questions. Definitely got some good questions. Alrighty, let's get into it. Yeah, don't get scammed by Nigerian princes like our guy Gage at the office did. Definitely got scammed.
But if someone does DM you on Instagram and says they're Loco Lopez and asking you for a bunch of Apple gift cards, you should probably go and get that for them.
Yeah, don't do that either. Don't ever respond to DMs. Just if you ever get a DM, if you ever get a text, block them and throw your phone into a river. That's what you should do. You should just
people shouldn't be DMing on
communicate by pigeon, by letter by pigeon. That's how
Carrier
you
pigeon.
should. Yeah, carrier pigeon. That's how you should be communicating with people nowadays. All right, let's get into the mailbag. Let's get into the wide receiver trade rumors. Guys, use hashtag Saints. I want to talk football, but I can't unless you guys talk football with me. So let's have a conversation.
I'll take my football and I'm going home.
All righty. Last segment, and then we can hop on out of here, and Lopez and I can finish out our day. All righty. Coming up, we're going to do some trade targets, some Q&A, and we're going to have a grand old time. Make sure I have my script pulled up.
I think I'm getting my timer pulled up.
Cool. All righty. By the way, Rookie of the Year voting is open. Have you guys voted for if you voted for Tyler Shuck, type Shuck, yeah. If you voted for, I don't want you to fake vote. I want you to actually have, if you voted, you get to say Shuck, yeah.
This is the most important election in the past 40 years.
This is the biggest election that this country has ever seen.
Yeah. Don't let
without doubt.
Don't let CNN Fox News
don't let
skew your opinions.
Don't let news media.
Yeah.
Don't let Big J media try to tell you that this isn't a big election. This is a huge election. There's massive circumstances on the board here. Look on the Saints Twitter. They have a link to vote. Here, I'll just put it in the chat. Can I do that? Should be able to do that. I'll do it later. Plus, I have a way for you guys to vote while I can. Alrighty. Let's talk about it. Wide receiver trade targets and Q&A here on Saints Now.
Ready?
Yep. Coming up in today's video, we got wide receiver trade targets and then a Q&A with the Golden Gang, who's our group of awesome subscribers. Appreciate you for rocking and rolling with us here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. But by the way, Offensive Rookie of the Year voting is officially open. So I'm going to make a deal with you guys because I know not everyone can find the link to do it. It's on the Saints Twitter page, by the way. But for every single like we get on this video, I'm going to go submit a vote for Tyler Shuck. I'll make every burner I need to. I'll make every fake email I need to. I will go and vote 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 times. So however many likes is however many votes I'm personally going to submit. So let's run it up and get Tyler Shuck to win Rookie of the Year. All right, let's start this conversation off by addressing an elephant in the room. I want to just say that the New Orleans Saints, when it comes to the wide receiver position, they should look to add talent that is complementary to wide receiver Chris Olave. They should look to bring in more talent. They need to raise the overall skill level on their offense. But you also do have some intriguing guys that are going to be available this year, like Jalen Polk will be into the mix. Devon Vele comes back from injury. Bub Means, still a lot of unknown around him. But I do think when it comes to the Saints, adding a wide receiver this year needs to be a priority, whether it's draft, free agency, or trade. I would prefer to go through the draft, but I also can understand going and trading for a guy is definitely an appealing option. So let's start things off with a familiar face for Kellen Moore, wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, formerly of the Tennessee Titans, A.J. Brown. We've actually talked about this topic on the show before, and I don't necessarily think that the New Orleans Saints should be sprinting to go and trade for A.J. Brown. Like, let me just put it this way, extremely productive player, starting to turn into a little bit of a diva, but for what it's worth, won a Super Bowl with Kellen Moore, clearly was happy with him. So if he wants to go and try to get into a really good situation with a coach that knows how to utilize him at the highest of levels, then maybe that is a really interesting fit for the New Orleans Saints. All in all, I think the Eagles will try to ask for a lot. His contract is pretty expensive. It's one of those things where, you know, if you're interested in it, you better be really sure about it. But I also am going to say proceed with caution on this one. Like, just honestly a name to keep an eye out. I don't think A.J. Brown's my number one guy, but I definitely think he could be really, really complimentary to Chris Olave. I mean, look how Devontae Smith was able to open up as soon as A.J. Brown came into the mix in Philly. Now, a player that I'm actually really interested in, and it may not be because he's the best wide receiver in the league. It's more so because I think you could just get him for dirt cheap. Like, Keon Coleman, there's trouble in paradise there. In Buffalo, they weren't happy. Like, that's a bad situation overall. And I think with the New Orleans Saints, you could be beneficiaries of the crappy situation that has been created by the Buffalo Bills with Keon Coleman. And I think that you could offer a 7th-round pick. I mean, they're probably going to have to cut him anyway. So it's one of those things like, I mean, you offer him a 7th-round pick. Don't let another team try and go get him. We can snag him and call it good. Like, I don't think it's a bad idea to bring him in. I mean, 4 touchdowns. He was active in the playoffs, had a couple of good plays for Buffalo. 6'4", 215 pounds. Definitely could be a really good threat in the red zone. I think when you talk about Keon Coleman, the Louisiana native, I'm not saying go and bring him home because that's why you should go and trade for him, but I do think it would be a cool story to bring him home. And I think that when you talk about the New Orleans Saints, you could use a player who has the skill set that Keon Coleman has. However, I will say he needs to be a little bit more of a professional in the sense of making sure that he can operate at a high level. I don't know why he wasn't active for all those games. It's kind of a weird situation. So if you do bring him in, I want to make sure that this is the right situation for this player. But I do think if you did make a trade for him, it wouldn't really cost you all that much. And I also think that you could, get a pretty good return on your investment. Now, another Louisiana guy, LSU legend Brian Thomas Jr. I think this is definitely one that the New Orleans Saints should explore. Now, I know that everyone's going to be sitting here saying, yeah, BTJ is 100% a great fit, but why the hell would he come to New Orleans? Well, in case you didn't know, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they did trade for Jacoby Myers before the trade deadline last year, and they also extended him. So, they kind of view Jacoby Myers as a key part and a focal point of their offense. I'm not saying Brian Thomas Jr. isn't, but maybe you could offer something competitive to get a player like Brian Thomas Jr. who could then put a really, really big impact on the Saints offense. And again, I think that it would be a good move to give more players and weapons to Tyler Shuck to lean on. I also think it would be a smart idea to bring in another very talented wide receiver to open up opportunities for Chris Olave, Devon Vele, and the rest of the guys on the roster. Brian Thomas Jr. is definitely somebody I'm interested in. I'm not going to sell the kingdom to go and get him, but definitely am going to at least make a call and see what it would cost. Now, another player to keep your eye on, Jalen Waddle. That's going to be the last guy we talk about in this video. His situation is actually kind of interesting. I mean, he's still a fairly young player. He's on a team-friendly contract. He's only making $68 million over the next 3 years, which I know might sound like a lot, but at just under $23 million a year, that's actually pretty good money for a very expensive position in the National Football League. Jalen Waddle, very fast, very talented guy when he's available. He stepped up in a big way for the Miami Dolphins offense, and I think when you talk about what the New Orleans Saints need, Jalen Waddle could be a guy that could be a good weapon in Kellen Moore's scheme and, really open up the speed aspect of our offense even more so. Now, why should you subscribe? Well, one, because we provide awesome content every single day, but two, because, you love the channel. News, rumors, analysis, trades, free agency, draft, a whole lot more. Doesn't matter what's going on around the black and gold. We're your one-stop shop. We got live shows. We got daily videos. We got short-form content, whatever you want. We got it any way you want it. That's the way you need it. The New Orleans Saints Now by Chat Sports is the place to be. So make sure you subscribe. More subs equals more videos. So let's get on the road to 100K and let's take over the YouTube world. Now, I want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor. That is Prize Picks. We're going to get into the Q&A portion of today's video here in just 1 second. But the big game is almost here. I'm talking Patriots versus Seahawks, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, it also means, unfortunately, it's your last time or your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close out the season right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the Prize Picks app and use our promo code CLNS. You can find your community on Prize Picks with the social feeds feature. You can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. And if you want some inspiration for how Prize Picks works for the big game, Drake May, half the passing yard? Yeah, you see it right here. That's a promo that you can take advantage of, and you can really maximize your winnings. Jake Bobo, he gets 1 catch. Your boy's making some money. And Ramondre Stevenson, he finds the end zone once, and there you go. $20, I win 95. 3 things just have to happen. 1 passing yard, 1 catch, and 1 touchdown. I think that's a pretty doable thing for the big game. So download the Prize Picks app. Use our promo code CLNS. Follow my lineup if you want to make some money. You can get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Use that promo code CLNS. Link is clickable in the comments and description of this video. Shout out to Prize Picks, where it's always good to be right. All right, let's get into the mailbag Q&A portion of today's video with the Golden Gang. Who Dat Nation, friendly reminder, we are live filming this, so if you want to get in a question now, use hashtag Saints, and we'll make sure we feature you. Who Dat Nation, should we draft Jeremiah Love or Jordan Tyson in this year's draft? Personally, I think we should get Jordan Tyson, but you could also argue we need a running back more. I think it's a fair question. Should the Saints prioritize drafting a receiver like Jordan Tyson or a running back like Jeremiah Love? In my opinion, I'm going to say Jeremiah Love, because I think that you have a high-end wide receiver in Chris Olave, and I don't think you have that high-end running back right now. No disrespect to Alvin Kamara, but I think that the rushing attack in New Orleans definitely needs an upgrade. Partially, you can do that by improving the offensive line, but also partially I think you just need younger, fresher legs and guys who can make those big explosive plays. I really like the idea of drafting Jeremiah Love, but Jordan Tyson I do think could be an interesting pick it, but if I had to pick a wide receiver, personally, I really like Carnell Tate or Makai Lemon. That's just personally me. Lopez, I want to bring you on screen, and I want to hear what you have to say about this.
You just said everything I was about to say. I think Jordan Tyson is probably my wide receiver 3 right now. So obviously, I'm not going to use the number 8 overall pick on him.
Well, Mel Kiper, for what it's worth, mock draft, Jordan Tyson to the Saints at 8. Just for what it's worth. I know Mel Kiper knows ball, but...
I'm about to say, Mel Kiper still thinks Shedeur Sanders should have went number 1 last year, so just saying. But
Shedeur Pro Bowler. Where Mel Kiper,
Mel
Kiper was right.
Rookie Pro Bowler.
Where Mel Kiper was right.
You're right. But I think with the options given here, I would have to go Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
We need a spark in the running back room. Now, if you ask me between Jeremiah Love and a Carnell Tate, Makai Lemon, I think that's a different conversation. I think that would be a better conversation. Be like, okay, we could get that alpha wide receiver 1 or that spark plug that we need.
Yeah.
In the running back room.
And I think that you brought up a good point of like, you'll get a really big spark from Jeremiah Love. Like, in my opinion, the 8th overall pick should be used on the best player available. And how I would define the best player available is the person who can make the biggest impact in the most immediate fashion. So whether that's providing the biggest spark or whether that's being the most consistent, like locking down a spot, I do think that the Saints are in a pretty good spot to take any position if they wanted to, because they could use upgrades pretty much everywhere, but you also are confident in a lot of the areas you have on the roster. So I think this is definitely going to be an interesting draft, but if it falls the way that Who Dat Nation put, I'm going with Jeremiah Love.
Speaking of best player available, great segue into our next question, though. I want Caleb Downs to be a Saint. So let's take that last conversation.
Okay.
We're number 8.
Okay.
Caleb Downs is on the board as well.
Okay. If it's Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love, offense helps, but defense wins championships.
It's a tough one.
That's a tough one. I think I'm stumped on this one. Because I go back and I change my mind every day. I change my mind every day on this. If you let Alontae Taylor walk, I'm sprinting to get Caleb Downs.
Yes.
I think that's 100% what I would do. Because then you have the ability to maybe have Caleb Downs move down the middle. Maybe you can move Jonas Sanker down there if you wanted to. Like, you can get creative with how you use your DBs. I'm going to say, let's just say Alontae Taylor walks, I'm going Caleb Downs. But I think if he stays, I'm going to go Jeremiah Love. And I don't know if I don't know, dude.
I like Caleb Downs.
I really like, that's my thing is really like Caleb Downs.
Good. He might be the most can't-miss prospect in this draft.
Look, the other thing, too, is like, look at the Baltimore Ravens over the last handful of years. Like, having an elite safety tandem is not a problem. That is not a bad thing to have. You know what? I'm gonna make a decision on this. I'm just gonna Caleb Downs. If it's between Jeremiah Love and Caleb Downs, today the decision is Caleb Downs.
I will leave you with this one comment. Caleb Downs would be a top 5 draft pick if he did not play safety. If he was a corner that you could put on the outside and be a lockdown in your secondary, he would easily be top 5.
I don't think I necessarily disagree with you on that. I'm going to be honest. The last 2 questions were great. Very fun conversations. All right, let's keep this thing going. All right, do you think they will get rid of Taysom Hill to save money? So what you would need to do with Taysom Hill is renegotiate his contract. For the New Orleans Saints, I do think that there's a very real possibility Taysom Hill retires. He has actually expressed interest in returning, but, you know, as we know, there's a lot of factors that you have to kind of figure it out, and the nature of the business is, what have you done for me lately? And, you know, if you're an older guy who's had some injury histories, you may not want to, you know, risk some of that stuff. But he's 35 years old. Production is dipped. You could save, you know, $12+ million in cap money if you renegotiate his contract. So I think at the end of the day, Taysom Hill will end up retiring. And I think that that's what's in the best interest for the Saints moving forward. But, again, we'll have to see what happens. By the way, Senior Bowl is live on TV right now. Arkansas legend Taylen Green just threw an incomplete pass. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. But it's pretty cool to see my Arkansas quarterback back on screen because got benched. Later on. Anyway, Mike Nintendo Master, what are the odds of the Saints trading for Max Crosby? Scale of 1 to 10. Oh, nice throw by Taylen Green. Oh, my God, he just got in the end zone. Nice. Ooh, pig. Yeah, shout out the Hogs. What are the odds of trading for Max Crosby? I am going to say on a scale of 1 to 10, -15. There's just no way the Saints are going to be doing that. And honestly, the Saints shouldn't operate like this. Like, I think that they're one season away from going and doing some crazy splash trade. I don't think that Max Crosby, although I think he's a phenomenal football player and I think he could do a lot of good things, I don't think that the New Orleans Saints are a Max Crosby away from competing for a Super Bowl. So it's like I would rather allocate those draft picks to other players that'll be around for the long term where we can go and get multiple playoff runs and multiple Super Bowls than maybe like one miracle run to lose in the wild card round, if that makes sense. Yeah. Anywho, Mike Nintendo Matt. Sorry, we're watching the Senior Bowl. Ethan. He drinks motor oil, but we know his name is Ethan. Any players you think that the Saints we should draft that ain't getting much attention? I'm going to give you two. First, I'm going to say three. So this one, David Bailey isn't a guy who's not getting attention. He will be a top 10 pick. If he's available at 8, you are Usain Bolt elbows to ears sprinting to submit that draft card. That is 100% what you do. Because I would assume that Jeremiah Love / Caleb Downs got taken. That would open that possibility up. Long story short, he's one that we haven't talked about a ton on the channel that I'm very, very interested in. Chris Bell, the Louisville wide receiver, he played with Tyler Shuck last year, did suffer an injury, could lower his draft stock a little bit, so maybe you get him like round 3. I really, really like the idea of Chris Bell. Elijah Surratt is a guy that I'm really a big fan of. Some people aren't, but I really like him. I'm trying to think of some other guys. Oh, Damon Claiborne, the running back out of Wake Forest. Go look up his tape. That dude can frickin' run. I would love that if you don't go do Jeremiah Love or something. Like, that would be a fun addition to the depth chart. What do you think? Oh, we got Nuss on Senior Bowl now. This is ridiculous.
It's actually perfect because the first name that I was going to say, if we don't end up going Caleb Downs, a guy that we could look at second round, maybe if he falls to third, safety A.J. Halsey from LSU.
Ooh, that's a good one.
He had a good year.
That's a good one. I like that. Look, and I also think that could be like one of those, like, sneaky good ones that you look back on and you're like,
do you know the Jonas Sanker, basically?
Yeah,
you get
like,
safety in the second, third
Yeah,
round.
exactly. Like, yeah. I think it could be like your Jonas Sanker to where you're like, wait, third round pick? What the hell? How did that happen?
And then another name that has been popular around the office, especially from our desk mate Xavier, Lee Hunter, who has been tearing it up.
Mike
at the Senior Bowl.
Mike Washington, running back out of Arkansas, also been tearing it up at the Senior Bowl. That dude is a freak. One of the most productive backs in the SEC. If you disagree, look it up. Statistically, he was. That's not my Arkansas bias. Like, he legitimately was a really good player, and I don't think that he's somebody that's going to go day 2, day 3, he's going to go day 2. I think he'd go like early, mid day 3. Like, you could easily get a player like that later on, and I think that would be beneficial. Wow. 17 minutes of questions, 17 minutes of trade rumors, draft talk, all that fun stuff. My name's Trizzy Trace Girouard. Really appreciate you guys for hanging out with us and making us a part of your day. No matter where you are, how you're tuning in, we're very grateful that you guys take some time out of your day and hang out with us, talk about some Saints football. For Loco Lopez, for me, y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time. Alrighty. Vote as many times as possible for Tyler Shuck, Offensive Rookie of the Year. All right, let me find that link here.
Listen to Ethan.
Let me find the link here.
Yeah, if y'all have any fun questions, I can pop up a couple right now.
Yes.
Get them in.
All right, here's the vote. Let's skew the votes. Yeah. We're not gonna let them stop the count. We're doing this 2020 style. Don't stop the count.
I didn't hear no bell.
I ain't hear no bell. I'm currently voting. I'm going to vote 5 times right now.
I'm actively
Here,
voting.
if somebody sends in, let's do a 2-minute timer. However much money we make in Super Chats, 10x is how many times I'm going to vote. We make $10, I'm going to vote 100 times. We make $20, I vote 200 times. We make $50, I vote 500 times. 2 minutes, timer starts now. How many votes can we get for Tyler Shuck on Rookie of the Year? 2 minutes, and then we'll sign off. Garrett Nussmeier.
All aboard the Nuss bus.
Trying to punch it in. 2 minutes, and we can vote for Tyler Shuck.
Ooh, get there.
Ooh, nice run. Senior Bowl's interesting because it's like, I know that they're trying throughout these practices and throughout this stuff, but it's also kind of to an extent, you're you're not going, you're going 80%, not 100. What's up?
This is super live.
Yeah, I think so.
It says live right there.
It's practice.
In the corner.
Oh,
this is practice. Yeah. No, this is practice. The game is this weekend. I think it's on Saturday. So is the Royal Rumble.
Dude, Saturday is a
loaded day.
Loaded day. You got Royal Rumble, UFC, Senior Bowl. Also, big L by the WWE and UFC to have these events in other countries because why is UFC at 4 o'clock on a Saturday? Have that bitch in Vegas.
I know.
It's stupid. I don't care about Australia. The UFC is an American sport, and we keep it here in our country.
Yeah. we need to. Well, at least WWE didn't sell out to the Saudis. Has UFC sold out to the Saudis or no?
They've definitely been in Saudi Arabia or like a Middle
I know the
East.
WWE. That's where the Royal Rumble is. It's gonna be at like 3 p.m. on Saturday.
Dude, that's
because of
stupid.
Yeah, the Royal Rumble's at 1 p.m. on a Saturday. Like, what are we doing?
Because the Saudi Arabians paid more money.
What are we
That's
doing?
dumb.
It just doesn't make sense. Alrighty, 30 seconds remaining. If we get any super chats, we'll vote for Tyler Shuck. If not, no worries. We'll leave it up to you guys. And fighters getting taxed nearly 50% in Australia. You know what? I don't pay taxes. Just kidding, I do. Only, as Scrim once said, the only thing I duck is state tax. Any S-Boys fans in here? I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but Scrim and Ruby to Cherry. Alrighty. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. I just voted for him one more time just because. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Y'all are legends. If you want to vote for Tyler Shuck in Offensive Rookie of the Year, I dropped a link in the live chat. If you guys want to go do so, pepper it up and let's skew the votes. My name's Trizzy for Loco Lopez. Y'all stay golden. See you next time.